Morning, everybody. Troy from the cold and frozen do-it-yourself world on the off-grid project. Most of the snow melted yesterday. Well, half. There's snow here and there's not here. I don't know why that is. Anyway, we have flurries so far. We've had flurries all day yesterday, all night last night, and so far today. Why am I standing inside the house? Because it's freezing out there. It's really windy, it's really cold, and it's even freezing just standing by the door of the tiny house. So I've just got the fire going and I'm working on computers today. It's bitter cold out there right now, and it's going to get colder. We're going to get below 0 temperatures Fahrenheit. We're supposed to get -5 to -7, which is around -20 something to -30 something. Around -24, I think, roughly, Celsius. It's going to be cold, really cold. But we got flurries and a cloudy gray sky. But let's go have a look at the batteries, because there's quite a bit of snow in front of the solar panels, which is very helpful. By the way, there's some fish. I'm salting fish you'll see in a different video coming in the future, just so you know. Now, I've been running my laptop and my internet for, well, since before the sun was up. And I've got pretty decent solar considering we don't have direct sunlight yet. It's still the morning hours. And I've got really, really good production at this hour considering that the sun hasn't cleared the trees yet. That's really good. So the batteries are good. Now this is the 3 batteries that I have together now. This will be the first actual... Well, yesterday was very cloudy and dark, so this will be the first full, not as dark, gloomy day. I haven't had a full day of sun yet on the 3 batteries together. Now I am experimenting. People are, for some reason, really having fits that I'm experimenting. Why do I experiment? Because I want to help people with my experiments. I started the off-grid project originally to experiment and teach people that they can get off the grid on a budget using budget and recycled materials. And occasionally I will go back to experimenting with recycled materials. I do have the forklift battery, but I want to play around with those 3 recycled batteries because I want to. And that's my reason, because I want to. Somebody called me a moron the other day. Well, that's fine. It's my choice. This is what I do, and that's what I enjoy doing. So anyway, looking good, and guess what? It's fun. I like it. I am enjoying this a lot. I love to see the numbers. This is my off-grid television right here. I don't have to watch TV. This is it. This is my entertainment, everybody. Morning, everybody. This is what happens when you mess up with your wood stove and have it damped down too low. 54 degrees this morning in the tiny house on wheels. 7 degrees outside. Very, very cold out there. Had the stove damped down too far, and this is the results. It's just a matter of learning, and I've not experienced it this cold in the tiny house on wheels yet this year, and so I had it cranked down like I always do, and this is the results. Hey everybody, Tractor Supply had this heat shield. I'm just sitting it in here trying it on for size. It's the real deal, the proper heat shield for wood stoves. It's sitting on the floor, so it doesn't quite come up the right height, but when I raise it up properly on a frame, it's going to be the perfect size. It extends past the stovepipe this way and extends beyond the wood stove this way, and here is definitely more than 3 feet distance anyway, so that's fine. And that's going to be a good looking and proper heat shield for my tiny house on wheels for the wood stove, finally. I do have the spacers for that I bought last year, and these are normally $60 and I got it on sale for $35. So I'll be setting that up in here, and I also am going to be securing the stovepipe a lot better, and I got a new T-adapter today because my T-adapter this morning popped apart right here. Just all of a sudden, because I had the stove really going hot, right here just popped apart. This is just a press fitting, and it just went ping and this popped open under extreme heat today. So that wasn't well made. And that was a brand new pipe that I had just got. So I'm not really very pleased with that fact. Anyway, oops, baby's scratching me. So, I got the new T-pipe, and hopefully I got the right one. I'll find out in a few minutes here, and we'll see how it goes. See, just to show you, that is the real deal. Designed to go behind the wood stove, between the wood stove and the wall. That's the real deal. So, I'll be setting that up in here. I had to go get the rest of my stuff inside and then put it together. Well, I'm constructing a framework. It is made out of actually some stakes and some angle iron. And this is going to be the platform that holds the stovepipe up, just to prop it up and give it extra strength and safety. Because I don't like all the weight of that massive stovepipe hanging down like this. I never felt safe and happy about that. So I'm constructing a rugged brace, and then that brace will also be a part of the support for the new heat shield. So right now I am cutting and measuring metal. These stakes, I should have been recording the whole thing. What I did is I took the sawzall and clipped off the rivets that held that piece of that stake. These are garden stakes or fence stakes or whatever, and I cut off that piece of metal with a sawzall. I just cut off the rivets and tapped the pieces out, and then I took angle iron and I cut it to the right size. And then I think I'm going to zip these off right about here, okay, because I won't need any metal above there. I think it would just look weird hanging up like big ears, and that's going to hang up behind the pipe parallel with the wall, okay, and that'll help that'll be screwed and bolted into the floor, and then the framing of that'll help hold this, so it's all going to be one unit now. So especially with Melanie on the way, there's no more playing games here. I have to make things strong, stable, safe, and good. Now, the reason I can't just go buy brackets for this stovepipe is because the brackets that are designed for the stovepipe, it's a zero clearance stovepipe. You can hook it up 2 inches away from any wall, any combustible materials. But since I designed my pipe to be a foot away from the wall, I can't get brackets to fit it. So unless I moved the pipe and moved the hole in the roof and everything else, and I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to build a massive rugged stand, and then rig up some kind of a structure to hold it to here. I'm going to have to come up with something there. It can be, it's not a flammable zone, so it's not a big issue, but I'm going to have to come up with a clamp for that as well. But this here will definitely keep that from ever falling down. That'll be very safe and stable. And then I'm probably even going to put a brace underneath the T-pipe to clean out, just to make sure that this part here never falls as well. I don't ever want any danger of anything falling apart. Then when I want to clean it out, I pull out the brace, knock out the opening, put it under a bucket, knock down the cap, and do the clean out. But I've got to replace that T-pipe as well right now. So first thing is to get this secured. So let's go out to the workshop. So I know people are telling me that the cold weather does not affect these lithium-ion batteries. A lot of people are telling me that, but I'm telling you, I've got 3 batteries here that are not holding the charge, and they were not empty before. So anyway, so I had to go in and take a battery that was indoors in order to finish this project. So I don't know. It's not working for me. I want to cut this off relatively flush here. Doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but I just don't want that metal standing up. It doesn't look as pretty. Now I know I don't have clamps, so don't yell at me. I used to be terrified of this until I got one in my hands and started cutting it. I never wanted to run one of them before. Now I use it all the time. So I want to go with this hole to this hole. So I want to cut right here. Go. Now, am I recording? Sometimes I can't tell if I'm recording. Now this is just a brace. Don't know if it matters which way up, but this is just a cross brace for strength. That's all it's going to be. Its only purpose. And I've got lock washers as well for extra strength. Pretty flimsy until I get those things tightened up. Let's turn this over. And then I'll put a cross brace as well in here later on. I couldn't find anything at the hardware store. I was at Tractor Supply in the hardware shop. I couldn't find anything that would do the job I wanted for what I was thinking. Basically the shelving, those cheap IKEA shelving units, just have a piece of stiff wire running as a cross brace, and that keeps them from collapsing. And that's what I was hoping I'd find, something like that. Now I got lock washers because the possibility of these things walking on you is a serious risk. Alright, I'm going to tighten these up. I won't bore you with that. I'll get my wrenches out and tighten up those nuts. Now, this is my homemade brace. Hopefully it's level enough and it's going to evenly support that under here. So I've got to heave up the stovepipe and wedge this underneath all in one nice smooth motion. I've got the stove damped down, very much damped down right now. I'm going to put gloves on to protect my fingers from the edges. The stove is barely kicking any heat. Now, considering especially that outdoors is very cold, that is not a happy feeling in the tiny house on wheels. Okay, so there was always some leeway under there. That was never very tight. I always wanted to redo that. Anyway, that extra support. Okay, now I want to center this under here and up against there. Now, that'll never, ever be able to fall. There's no way that'll be able to fall. When I got it settled here. Alright, now I'm going to cut a piece of... Did I want that the other way? I want that the other way. Yeah, because I want to hook this up to a 2x6 on the floor, which you can't see. Now what I'm going to do is on... Oh, you can sort of see it. Yeah, okay. What I'm going to do now is I want to turn it around. I want this to butt up against the pipe here and against this pipe here, against the clean out adapter, so I know it's straight. And then what I'm going to do is put a piece of 2x6 down and screw that firmly to that 2x6. And then that 2x6 is going to be a part of a railway to hold the heat shield on the other side. So I'll have like a chamber to sit that in, and it'll go right across through here. So I've got to turn that around. Yeah, that way these will tighten right up against that 2x4 or 2x6. It'll be really tight and solid. And this is absolutely cold to the touch right now. The stovepipe is absolutely cold to the touch. Just so you know. There's no heat in that pipe when I'm hugging it. The only reason I got gloves is for my own protection against the metal lip of it. So, I just want to center that nicely, as good as I can. Okay. Now, that's not touching all the way across. I think I have to readjust that. When I work on this here, I'm going to have to readjust this. But for now, anyway, that's holding on, and this whole piece now I can replace. This is wrecked. This popped off. Alright, now that's rigid. Alright, now I can fix, everything's going to hold together. That can never come down now. See, that's a big deal. That all the weight of this pipe now will be taken off of any suspension. This is just extra safety. This will never ever be able to come down, and that's something, you know, it concerned me with. It's been bugging me with me running around and the cats running around. One time I did run through here, and I kicked the brace out from under there, and the whole pipe came crashing down. Scared the cats for 3 days. But anyway, I don't want to risk any danger with Melanie here, so I'm being really, really careful now, and really building things good and proper and safe, because it's not just me anymore. Well, there's that. That's not going anywhere now. That's never coming down. That's strong and secure. And then that board is now going to be the runner. See if I can move the camera. Now that board is going to hold the framing for the heat shield. I cut it hopefully to the right length that it'll run underneath the entire heat shield. Well, now I've got to raise the heat shield up because there has to be an airspace under it in order to work properly. But there it is. Definitely that protects the wall from the heat of the stovepipe, and over here it'll protect the wall from the heat of the stove. Exactly how it was designed to be. Now again, in order to make that work, I've got to have clearance underneath. So I have to build a frame behind it with standoffs, which I have, and that's why I put that 2x6 on the bottom. Let me take off the camera here. Now I ran that 2x6 all along here underneath there to hold the framework for the standoffs for that, which I might as well just finish today. And I'm going to put a foot going down, and then I can take this ugly cement block and that rusty metal I already took out, and that looks so much better and more professional than what I had. And it stands off from the wall, but yet, see, I didn't want it up against the wall because I don't want the wall to become faded in one spot and not in another. And I noticed that if you put it up against the wall, that would have happened. Also, it gives me a lot more air flow behind there, and I can move that wherever in the future. I can move that around a bit. I can experiment with the temperatures and move that around. So right now I'm going to have to build the 2x4 supports for that, and if I can find the standoffs now, But there is a proper heat shield behind my wood stove. And maybe in the summer I'll take these out and paint them black with stovepipe black. But right now they got to be functional. In the summer I can change that up. Anyway, it's looking good. Definitely that pipe is never coming down. Now that I've got that secured, and it's screwed into the framing of the flooring of the house, and that isn't going anywhere. I made sure I hit a stud down in there too, so that's not going anywhere. That 2x6 is rugged. That's locked in place. So anyway, I think it's lunchtime. I think it's way past lunchtime because I'm starting to lose my thought. So I've got to raise that up, build a framing for it, and I'll have myself a really nice proper heat shield. And I think these are a little, yeah, these are a little bit crooked. That's why that isn't hitting here properly. So I've got to loosen these nuts, straighten that up so it's contacting the pipe perfectly, tighten them back down, and lock them in place tight. And then I've got myself a nice setup here. And then I can take out the T adapter and replace that and fix the stovepipe properly here. And then I've got to find the proper screws, but what I also need is to put screws in each of these connections so it's absolutely permanent. So I've got to find those the screws that'll fit that and work for that job. And I'm not sure if there's a hole in the stove at all for that, but you can see that this is angled with time away from the back of the stove. So, well, lunchtime, but it's coming along good.